your hats, boys.
Libos.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week.
A little bit old for you, but
We're that deep into Danny Roll. Please don't clip that.
Been truly horrific, haven't we, this season away from home.
I want goals.
It was nice to have football back, wasn't it?
How poor do we have to be before it's happening? How much blood from this stone does he have to get?
For Wednesday Week.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week. A much more mooted affair today because I've been enjoying the bank holiday a little bit too much. On Friday night, Sheffield Wednesday played local rivals Leeds United in what was a bit of a torrid affair. We're going to unpick the bones from that tonight. Joining me, I've got John, Stevie and Ash, and we're going to see where we went wrong, what happened, how it all went, and of course we're live, it's gripped, it's sorted, don't say fuck or bugger. If you want to join in, get involved in the comments in whatever medium you're watching this via, and we'll pop up the best ones and probably the ones with the ones where we like, where it's got written down what we wouldn't mind saying, but we didn't say it. You know what I mean? So it's as easy as that. Stevie, how's your bank holiday weekend going, pal? You all right?
I am bored. Do you know what? I hate football on Friday. I don't mind the sky changing the times and everything else, but you get to Friday and then you've got all day Saturday, you've got all day Sunday. It's bank holiday Monday. Kids are away. So I've literally got a dog who's turned 3 today. And me. So I've been walking miles, chucking weights about in the gym, sweating profusely, and just waiting for tonight. Who has replaced you with your voice, by the way? It sounds very husky.
It was, I was having a middle class day out in Chiswick and had the day on the wine. Turns out, can't hack it anymore. I am an old man now. You know what I mean? I need to come to terms with that. But Ash, it's bank holiday weekend, and it's a weird one, this August one, isn't it? Because like, if you go away, the kids are off school. If you go away, it's going to cost you a bloody fortune, and you know what I mean. And then you go somewhere, and because it's the last one, everybody's bloody busy. Have you done some gardening then?
I've been working, mate.
Have you been grafting?
I've been at work today. Yeah, us self-employed don't have bank holidays, mate.
Fair
enough. Don't work, don't get paid, you know.
I've been at work today, and I had to do a stock take today, and I got in at 6 a.m. to do this stock take. At 7:40, I woke up in my office with 3 chairs laid across each other, and I've just had a good old hour and a half nap in the office. I just couldn't face it. What about yourself, John? How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. I agree about the football on a Friday. It does mess with your psyche, doesn't it? It messes with your routine. Even if you win, it's great, but then you've like, what I'm doing Saturday, what am I doing? It just messes with your weekend a little bit. But obviously, nice to enjoy the extra day off Monday, but today, bank holiday. Back at it tomorrow, but and then obviously, we've got a game coming up on Tuesday as well, haven't we? So.
Yeah, so we'll get into the Grimsby game coming up, but first I'm afraid we're going to have to talk about it, chaps. We're going to have to talk about this Leeds United game. Few questions about Danny's use of substitutes in this one, but before we get into that, Stevie, like, did you think? I mean, look, we've bounced back before when we've had a trouncing. And against Sunderland, we had a trouncing. We're back under the lights. We're at home. It's going to be a decent crowd. There was no trams, for God's sake, but we still turned up in our numbers. And in terms of how you thought it was going to go, how did you think it was going to go?
I didn't expect it to be as much of a one-sided affair as it actually transpired, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. I was definitely expecting a reaction because, like you said, when we've come off the back end of heavy defeats previously under Danny, there's been a response. I'm a little bit worried, if I'm honest with you. Not worried, but I think Ash had said privately last week. The reality is that all these people that were talking about getting into the playoffs and talking about being up there, top end of mid-table and what have you, it's a bit of a reality check, really, isn't it? And I'm not saying that that's where we're going to end up or we're not going to end up, but you look at the players that we brought in and the performance against Plymouth, and it was that question of, are Plymouth that bad or are we actually that good? And it turns out it's probably a little bit more of the former based on the last couple of games. I didn't having seen little bits of Leeds, I was a little bit apprehensive because, they're not the kind of team that are going to drop points or lose games, 3 games on the bounce. And, having been held, lost, been held, I half expected them to give some sort of reaction, but I expected us to step up on Friday. And if I'm honest with you, I was quite disappointed.
Yeah, I think the same. Now, Ash, it's no... given the way that football's gone for these first three league games of the season, Sunderland and Leeds are 2 of the best teams in the league right now. They are very good. Sunderland surprised me as well. And do you feel that it's unfortunate timing? I wouldn't go as far as saying concern is setting in. And, Stevie said the same. He's not worried, but all of a sudden it's kind of like reality's hit us up the arse a little bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of Wednesday fans, people watching this, have seen the reaction after and the day after on Saturday morning on Twitter and all the social medias and all such like, and they
and other social media outlets.
And other social media outlets, yeah. About the result, no, of course it's not. No, not all. It's 3rd game in. We've played arguably, probably, a great opening game against Plymouth because everyone knew what sort of shambles they were in, and it turned out to be right. They were. They've just not, under Rooney, they've just not got the click. If they ever will, I don't know. But then we come up against Sunderland, and like you said, Dan, yeah, we've talked about it with great lengths, a 4-0 trouncing. But then Leeds, come on, it's not. I'm going to say it's not a derby. It's a local Yorkshire game. It's Friday night. I love it. I tweeted it out about being under the lights back at Hillsborough. And even though the Sunderland game, I think we looked at how Leeds have been playing, and they weren't playing great. They had the chance to win it against Portsmouth, but obviously drew 3-3. And then drew the other one. So I think there was a bit of optimism. I think there was only me out of the podcast of predictions that predicted us to win 2-1, and I got that totally wrong. Obviously, I could do everything. But it was... You can't be... Like I say, it's nothing to be stressing about. It's nothing to be thinking about. Like just losing your head about, because it's the 3rd game in. We know how Danny Rule wants to play. We know he's going to make changes. We've got another, 5-6 days left of the transfer window. There's going to be ins and outs. It's going to look a totally different, probably first 11 by the time we get around to QPR, I want to say. Yeah, QPR into after the... So I'm not bothered at the minute. It's only the 3rd game. We've got 3 points, which is a hell of a lot more than we had
this time last year.
So it's not going to be easy. I didn't think you were, but we've played 2 of probably the one teams that are supposedly going to be the top, at least top 8, 6. I know Sunderland have lost Jack Clark as well, who was pretty good. But yeah, I'm all right.
It's an odd one, isn't it? It's an odd one because it was the same when we played Southampton last year, and they had James Ward-Prowse in the middle of the park, and then a month later they're playing our rivals in the league, and they don't have James Ward-Prowse. You're like, how is this fair? How is this a resetting of you know what I mean? If you're going to have a window, do it before the football's kicked. I find it weird that there's this weird month where it all kind of settles a little bit. Well, before we get into the starting lineup, then John, what were your thoughts going into it?
Yeah, well, I didn't. Obviously, Leeds had a slower start, and they obviously has lost some players during the summer. But there's still a squad, I think, that's worth over 115 million or something like that, which is crazy when you put it outside of ours. So I was a bit fearful because I know that they play a style of football similar to us, but on a next level to us, because they've also got Farked, who comes from that German school of high press and high intensity, and so I did kind of feel like it was going to be a tough game. I stayed positive, and that's why I went for a 1-1. But I did expect it to be a tough game. I expected it, which obviously proved to be there. So I thought if we played to its potential, we might just sneak a draw out of it. But they just set up really well, and we just couldn't get out at times, couldn't we? We just couldn't seem to get anything going at all. So.
Sorry, bit of windy pops there. My apologies. So yeah, I agree with you. It became very difficult to break down. So Ash is sorry, this hangover's rotting me in it. It's thrown me all over. I can't string a sentence together. So as you've noticed, Ash is putting up a few of the comments. Keep getting them in. I shall pop them up as we go. But let's go with the lineup then, Stevie. Any big surprises in there?
No, not really. In fact, yeah, I wouldn't have expected Valentin to go in on the right. I found that quite surprising, and the initial sort of the initial thoughts was it was going to be a 5, with 3 centre halves, maybe Valerie going in there at centre half with Iorfa and Bernard, Valentin playing on one wing back, Low on the other, and maybe just the setup would be that we're just going to sort of bed in and use that 3 at the back that we've used at times when we've sort of looked for a response when things haven't worked. But we have tended to do that away from home rather than at home. So yeah, it's difficult to say really, isn't it? Because after the Sunderland game, anything could have happened. We could have picked any team really, because I don't think anybody turned up. But on paper, that starting 11, you could probably argue a case for Marv going in over Low, or
this is it. I was going to say that, because when we went with 5 at the back with the wing backs, I thought, hang on, this has got to be Johnson coming in and getting his shirt back and grafting hard. I know that Low and Valerie have done okay when they've come in. I mean, the pair of them were great against Plymouth, and I can see the appeal of putting them in. But I genuinely thought Johnson would get a run out. And I'll be honest with you, bringing on a player that was last season's highest assists, bringing him on at 89th minute, I think is borderline disrespectful. Like you could see it on his face. He was absolutely furious.
Yeah, I can't help but think that there's something going on there, if I'm honest with you. And I don't know what that may be, and I don't know whether or not he will be part of rules set up come Saturday morning. Transfer window closes Friday, doesn't it? But we wax lyrical about Ingleson. Bannon's going to play as the captain of the team. On paper, our best 2 centre halves, you'd argue, are Iorfa and Bernard. And I know that people will say Iorfa's probably going to come out and put Hekwe in. People wanting Ugbo in. Ugbo's clearly not ready, or he'd be up top, I would have thought. But it was less about the starting 11, to be honest with you, for me, and more about the collective. And after Sunderland, I just expected something a little bit more than just something. And I think, to be fair, early doors, I thought we matched them, but then they just geared up.
For the first about 20 minutes, I thought we held our own. We were fighting hard, John. You know what I mean? We were doing all right. Yeah. I felt like Jamal Lowe was literally working off of peanuts, but managed to get away some, I was going to say chances, but some opportunities, as it were. I feel like Lowe there is, he was grafting hard, and there was a definite desire there. But we've got to talk about Svante Ingleson at some point, John. Like, there's an element of, is he not as good as what we thought he was, stupid, sexy Svante Ingleson, or is he getting a bit exposed in that formation? What do you reckon?
To be honest, Dan, I think it's probably they need another body in there. I don't think that as a 2 that Bannon and Ingleson can, they're getting exposed a little bit, particularly when things break on us. And I think that we just sometimes need that extra man in there. Hence why we might be looking at, another defensive midfielder, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, I just think, obviously Bannon's 34, 35 now, and Ingleson's come in and he's done well and looked great against Plymouth. But I don't think it's necessarily him. I just think that they're being a little bit exposed by not having an extra body in there, to be honest. I think they need some extra legs in midfield. Yeah.
There was definitely a gaping chasm there, wasn't there, Ash? I tell you what, Paul, what have you got anything to add on that midfield, and then smash us some comments as well, please, Ash?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I agree with John. I don't think that midfield 2 works. I think Nonto in the middle. He's a winger, but he just ran that midfield. He's 5 foot, nothing. Every time the ball broke, he picked it, turned. There was no one on him at all. Absolutely no. The press that we'd seen last season just was not there. Not just by Bannon and Ingleson, by quite a few players. It looked like they weren't not interested. That's the wrong one, but just not up to it for that game. They just, and then Leeds did it. Leeds had the ball, keeper out to Ampadu, who had all the time in the world. He just passed it, and we just did not press. And when we did step up a couple of things, they just passed it straight through us into the middle, turn, and that was it. They were away. That middle of the park, like, I think you're right. You're gonna have to put 3 in there. If you're gonna play with Bannon, Ingleson, you're gonna have to have a third one in there. But then you're sacrificing someone up top, aren't you? Well, yeah, or someone just behind.
So let's get into the goal then, Stevie. Have you ever seen the movie Goal? Is it what's the lead character's name? Is it Santiago Munez or something like that?
Something like that. Yeah.
And there's a scene in that where he's signed for Newcastle, I think, and he goes, right, I want you to beat the ball to the goal. And he starts running and he just hoofs it, the gaffer just hoofs it towards the goal to make a point of the ball is quicker than the man. That goal that they scored was an absolute beautiful textbook of ball is quicker than man. It's come from the fullback. There's a beautiful little 1-2. Is it Dan James does that little flick that Windass tried against Sunderland and we ended up conceding from? That was what he was after, and the ball through was absolutely stunning. Paul Valentin busted a lung to get there, and then kind of. I think that had probably got caught back for a penalty at some point, especially if it had been Premier League with VAR and whatnot. And then Ingleson's got sent for a hot dog, and he slotted it in. I mean, it was a nice goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the kind of goal that you'd rave about if we'd scored it. You know, the intricate play down the side, and they've literally gone coast to coast, haven't they? They've gone from one end of the pitch to the other.
I like that coast to coast. I'm going to make a note of that. Big fan of that.
In about four passes, and I think it would have been pulled for a penalty. My concern from a Sheffield Wednesday perspective is these players that we think that are incredibly quick don't seem to be very quick when you're playing against people that you pay a lot of money for. So we're talking about Valentin. I know we're talking about the first goal. My heart bleeds, and I'm looking forward to sort of eulogising Maxwell on the second goal. But it was night and day, and they just at that point it almost felt like that sucker punch that made you realise. I think the crowd realised, they're operating on another level here. You take the results out of it and everything else. And I've got some strong thoughts about results at this stage of the season, and I'm not overly concerned in terms of where we sit in the table and things like that, because it's 3 games in, and I think Luton are near the bottom of the league, Norwich are below us.
It can all change
it will all change. Things will settle down, things will bed in. A lot will happen after this week, but to watch Leeds play the way that they played in the lead up to that first goal and just left us floundering, I thought was alarming. Not much we could have done about it. I don't think they were just better. They were just better than us.
They were. They were genuinely upper class. Like Ethan Ampadu, I thought had a great game.
I don't think he could still be playing now, and I don't think he'd have broke sweat.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Steve. He didn't have much to do, did he? Really? But what he did, and I don't know if it was him positioning it the way that he played or what, but for me, it was a passenger.
Well, they used to have a player, didn't they, called Shackleton, and I think he'd got a Shackleton high seat chair in the middle of the park there. They were getting near him, were they?
I tell you what, I thought. Go on, Steve.
I was just going to say, just on the point that we were talking about previously in terms of the midfield, I think one of the issues that our midfield 2 have got is were exposed on Friday, was that if you look at some of the highlights, and admittedly the highlights are very brief because we lost 2-0, there are times when Ingleson progresses forwards and he moves further forward than the person that's playing in the 10. And it's at those points, it's almost like Leeds have drawn us out, and they've kind of gone, right, we're going to sit and we're going to be confident, we're going to keep the ball in that sort of second quarter of the pitch, if you like. And our midfield are going to go and press. And once they've pressed, it was like, bish, bash, bosh,
they've cut
just
us
around
apart.
us. And they just passed through us, and they played through us, and it almost made our back line look like we were too deep. And I suppose it's an argument that we probably were when our midfield stepped forwards. they just had so much time in the middle of the park. It was a real concern.
There were that passage of play, weren't they, in the second half? I can't remember which of our players it was, but he ended up in like down by the cop in the left corner flag, and there was 3 Leeds players like surrounding him, and I'm like, how are they managing to get 3 players around one of ours and not like be exposed as well? Because we couldn't get out, we just couldn't find the out ball at all game. We just could not find the out ball.
No, I agree with you. There was a few times where it looked like they had extra men on the field. They must have been covering some yards, or just might have just been using the space a lot more cleverly than us. Ashley, what are the interweb people saying?
We've got Matt Strickland, just disappointed we've not got any closer to them. I met Matt on Friday night. Him and his family. Told he watches with his lad, so I said I'd apologise for your language.
I got an F-bomb him in the first minute as well.
Yeah. On about the seeming like they've got more players than us. Steve Ellis has been on. Windass seems vacant. Having watched all 3 games, other than the goal, not seen a lot, though the stats have said differently.
It's an interesting one, that Windass, because he's, I thought he'd come out the traps against Leeds, and whether he was marked out of it, whether he's just in a bit of poor form, he wasn't at the races as much as he can be. I still maintain that he's a threat in this league, and he can pop up, and he's going to be one of those championship stalwarts over his career. He's going to get remembered in the same vein as Billy Sharp and Peter Whittingham, and those. It was a Delta Rap. Do you know those players that are just remembered for being really good championship players? But I think the last couple of games, I think he's stuck the joint up. What about yourself, Ash?
We've had a Leeds United fan on. Leeds United, LUFC Lee. He's saying that Pirro to Swansea's close, loan with a fee. Appreciate the inside transfer, Lee. But I'm not really bothered. But thanks for tuning in. And I would have thought your first message would have been a bit of a gloat, but thank you for not doing that.
Tell Pirro not to go to Wine Street in Swansea. It's grim.
I think he come from Swansea, actually. I think that's it. I think he signed him from that.
Oh, he knows it well.
Yeah. It's hard. I think we've all highlighted everything that we all think the same, don't we? About we're just outclassed. For whatever reason, and you could see that the way Danny wants to play, and we've said they weren't that pressing. And if Leeds set up and Sunderland set up in a way that nullifies the way that Danny wants to play, then we're going to have to find a different thing, because teams, it's all right against, obviously, Plymouth, obviously, we've said that. But if teams in the top 8 and 9 figure it out and do just watch the clips on Sunderland and Leeds, they may have figured out how to play against us. So then we may need a plan B or C.
I blame ITV. Danny's been smashing his football tactics all over the television airwaves, and all of a sudden everybody knows how to play against us. Now, Ash, there's a comment there from Ben. Stevie, before I talk about the second goal, Anthony Masaba channeled his inner Jedi Gassama and decided he was going to try and take everybody on. It's been an issue with Gassama we've spoke about at length for a season now, but Masaba did it far too much for me against Leeds. Like he's really great at that pace, and he's bursting and he takes a good couple of touches. And then there's like 2 or 3 too many, and all of a sudden he's ran into trouble. And all of our midfield have advanced, all of our attackers are in position, and he's just getting dispossessed on the left wing. Like it got frustrating after a while, didn't it?
Yeah.
And he played 90 minutes.
These 2 games he played 90 against Sunderland as well, if I remember right, because Danny went over at full time, and it was the first play that he went to. And it just doesn't, that end product just isn't there at the moment, is it? He's the guy that you would look for as an outlet to get us up the pitch, and he does that really well. But when he gets into those threat areas, it's almost as if he's trying too hard to make an impression. It's almost as if he believes that, and I know this, it doesn't work like this, and this isn't what he is actually sort of internalizing, but it's almost as if he believes that, well, I was a top combined goal assist maker last year. So I've got something to prove. I've got something to show. Whereas for me, I just want to see him get his head down and, get that ball in the box.
Hit the byline,
get the ball in the box, play the percentages. And I'm interested to see what happens. I'm assuming that Ugbo will be there or thereabouts in the next couple of games, certainly after the international break. I actually see that Masaba would be a really good foil for Ugbo. He's the kind of player that you'd want to give the ball to and get him to play the ball into those areas. So I think when Ugbo's up and running, if Ugbo's leading the line, I think we'll be all right. It just so happens that we're not in that position at the moment, are we?
Steve's comment there saying we broke down the wing a number of times against Leeds, but no one was in the box to receive the ball. I think given the relationship that Ugbo and Masaba have got, I feel like Ugbo would have been in the box. He would have been in the mixer. And that's probably why the ball's not going in, because maybe Lowe just drops a little deeper. I haven't really noticed, if I'm honest. Now,
yeah. I was just. I think a lot of the sort of the positive sort of feedback on Michael Smith has been that he's started the season relatively well, and I think that's probably because he leads a line a little bit better than Jamal Lowe will. I don't think necessarily that he's a better player or will score more goals, but in the way that we've set up, I'd argue that Lowe is probably somebody who'd play a little bit deeper. I think historically he plays from the left, doesn't he? Or he could even play as a 10. The comment's just gone up on screen now. When Ugbo is fit, I'd drop Windass and play Lowe as the number 10. That it's subjective. It's horses for course. I think Lowe could definitely do that, but I think the point I'm getting to is that I'd rather see potentially Smith leading the line at the moment, and I never thought I'd say that because he's somebody that he'd be on the end of a pass from.
I tell you what, Charlie now is listening to this, giggling in her boots because she was sat there saying he's still got a job. She got absolute pelters for it on that episode, and.
It came on though, and Masaba hit the byline and just cut back. He didn't cross it. Right? Anything. There were 2 or 3 times that you thought
a number of times.
Smith, come on, you're going to use that. Just get it in there. Try something different. But he always wanted to cut it back and then lay it back to Bannon or whoever, and then go into the middle. And then we tried playing too much on the edge of the area. You know what I mean? And the second goal come from that, didn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so John, it's half time, right? It's half time. You've got the lads in the changing room, and the worst thing you can do is concede early after half time. Now it happened against Sunderland, and we saw how that panned out. What happened to the shout? It's still 0-0, innit, lads? What happened? What did that still become? Is that still a thing that people say? But that is 2 games on the bounce where we've conceded straight after the break, right?
Yeah. Exactly that. I mean, if they'd already seen what happened, you come out cold in the second half, you're not switched on, bang, you go a goal behind, a further goal behind, and they've repeated the mistake again, haven't they? And like you say, you think at half time he's going to be saying, like any one of us who's never been in a dressing room, but you would be saying, 1-0 down, come out, keep it tight, lads, and work your way into the game. And
it's about 5 minutes. Bang. Keep it tight, lads. Hit the byline, get it in the mixer.
All the cliches. All those
cliches didn't happen.
No, not at all. No. I mean, that guy's ridiculously quick, though, isn't he, Dan James? I'm not even sure I could have caught him. To be fair,
I knew he was good.
Very quick.
I knew he'd played at higher level and stuff like that, but I didn't realise he was that good. Like it looked effortless for him, didn't it?
The ball, when they passed the ball, it was he 5 or 10 yards inside his own area. And then when he actually got it, it was 5 yards in front of Lowe, weren't it? I think chasing back.
Yeah.
That's before he'd even touched it. The pace of him just to get on there. And that's what you've got. Like you said earlier, when you made the comment about, we thought we had pace in the team, but that's what you get for 20 million. It wasn't.
I'm sure I've seen a stat somewhere that's got him in the top 2, 3, if not number 1 in terms of pace, in terms of speed over distance in the league. He's the fastest player in the league, I think.
Not seen me on 35 minutes going for a pie and a pint, though, has he? and then stand there for 35 minutes going,
catching your breath. Yeah, and then going, this is ridiculous.
Getting served.
Yeah, so somebody just turn the tap on and pour the pints, for God's sake. Now, Ashley, there is a comment there from Jay Blogs. Oh, he only cost 12 million, Dan. Oh, right, that's where it is. So yeah, but Ben's just cleared up there for me. He was only a 25 million pound player that was running past our defence that we've cobbled together. But this comment here from Jay Bloggs here said, Basil Ingelsson, Ash, struggling with the partnership, and Bernard has been way off it. Lack of communication, intensity. Ugbo starts the next game for me. Bernard hasn't been the player that we thought he was for the last couple of games, has he? Am I being harsh?
Yeah. You are being harsh.
Thanks, man.
Is he wanting to start Ugbo at centre half?
Yeah, that sounds like that, didn't it? Yeah. He's had an hard summer, hasn't he? He has played a lot of football over summer.
Yeah, and that's where I was going to go. Yeah,
yeah, it's a hard, isn't it? I mean, yes, he did play with IL for last season. He knows the team, he knows the players, and all that sort of thing. But it's still going to take a few games for him to get into it. I don't think he's been that. What I say is, I don't think he's been that bad. He's not been the issue. Do you know what I mean? You know when you have a centre half and he makes a couple of ricks and you're thinking, his head's not in it, his lack of confidence. I don't see that. I thought he played okay against Leeds without. It's hard when you lose 2-0 at home to have a centre half that's going to have a blinder of a game.
No, I know what you mean. I tell you what it is. I was gonna pick at the thread like, is he knackered? Because he had the CONCACAF, didn't he? That's the one he was in, wasn't it? He was, or the Copper America, or whatever
Copper
America. Yeah, he had that. He's not really had a rest. He was out the training because he wasn't training with us because he didn't have a club. I just wonder if his fitness levels aren't there, because that goal we conceded against Sunderland the prior week, I was kind of annoyed with him a little bit, but it's not like everybody else was top end on that day. But I just kind of wanted to float that question for you. Now, during the survey that we put out last year, there was a point where somebody said, can we start picking and choosing and introducing when the adverts are going to come on? So I'm going to do it now, and this is the bit where I'm going to put in that advert where I lose the phrase Sky Sports Plus and it loses all meaning. And we're back. Okay, then. So, what we're going to do, I'm going to get the statistics up because Stevie's prepared an infographic for us. Now, possession-wise, we got absolutely battered, 68-31. Eight total shots for me. I was shocked. I don't remember us having his 8 shots. And we had 2 on target. I remember 2 on target. I mean, they tell the story a little bit, don't they? There's nothing really massive to pull apart from that, is there, John?
Sorry, no, not really. I mean, I think at times it were, their centre half were like 30 yards in our half. It were like, what the hell? This is just like, it almost looked like a testimonial at times. They were just pinging it to each other, weren't even running, weren't even jogging, just kind of walking it forward, passing it to each other, and we knew that we couldn't press them. The problem is with the press with us is that you've got to get it. Everybody's got to do it. If you have one weak link in the chain, it's not going to work. And they showed you how it needs to be done. Hence why they were always on us in the zone half when we couldn't get out. And when we tried it on them, somebody wouldn't be doing it, and so they'd find the out ball, and then they'd break at pace with men. We men upfield and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think we just got a bit frustrated with that, and just at times thought, yeah, they've got it. We're just gonna, take a breather like a boxer, cling on a bit, hold on, take a breather, regather us, composure, and try and win the ball back in next passage of play. But yeah, we're comfortable for them. We can't sugarcoat it, can we? As much as we hate Leeds, and they were just superior, weren't they?
Yeah, they were just better. Ash, wrap this up for me and then chuck some comments on as well.
Yeah, I was going to say that stat where you just pulled, obviously that was the half time was 29% to Leeds. We did improve the second half. So I think that is something to think. I'll tell one of the stats there was the passing was 76.3%. Now, for a team that wants to keep possession, play out from the back, that's not that good, is it? So that could be a look. You all know my thoughts on stats, so that's all the comment I'm going to put on that it just you can make it look and sound as bad or as good as you want stats. So we'll, apart from the one that says 2-0 or whatever the score is, that's the only stat you really need to know.
It's XG for me. There's too many variables to have expected goals. I don't understand what that is. Like, you know what I mean? You're like, expected goals. What the are you talking about? What are you talking about? The wind could be blowing, and it could bounce off someone's ass. How do you calculate and quantify XG? It all comes from the American sports because they're all stat led. Oh, he's got 300 rushing yards and 26 passing yards, and what are you talking about? They lost. I don't care. You know what I mean? Anyway, Ash, let's wrap this up with some final words from the out there people.
J Blogs has come back against Ugbo being at centre half. Definitely not Ugbo at centre half, although we do need one. The team do look tired. Are we working too hard on the training pitch? Oof.
That's a hell of a question.
Chef Cam's been on. To be faithful to Bernard and Iorfa, that Matteo Joseph is a right player for this level. And he's only about 19, I think, 18, something like that.
He's going to be a barnstormer. He's going to be one of them West Ham, Southampton types of players in about 4 years. You know what I mean? Them ones where you're like, have we got him? I don't know.
That's the thing with them, though, isn't it? They always produce good young players and sell them on for a profit, and then repeat the process, and that allows them to be where they are. Now, even like 170 million in debt or whatever they're supposed to be, they'll go and flog 3 or 4 players. And then just recycling with different ones, and they've got mentioned. I think they were after Jack Clark, weren't they? But I think Ipswich are going to beat him to it. So 170 million squad versus whatever ours is.
Half a miles bar. Go on, Ash.
Robbo 0114 has been on as well. Put a comment in. Danny's got to go into games against better teams in the league, looking to win the battles in midfield. Make it a shithousery game. They don't like it up.
They don't like it up. I like that. I'm a big fan of the shithouse game.
We couldn't have done that on Friday because we were
they'd have absolutely made us look like they'd have been 6-0. They'd have absolutely pulled us apart if we would have tried to play them sort of tactics with them. But that was Leeds. They were 2-0 winners. They beat us at home. I'm really happy for you. I hope they enjoy your money and you're going to spend it on lessons in decorum because you've ruined my night. You've ruined my weekend. That was a come down with me reference. So that's nice, isn't it?
I got that. I got that one. I was going to say that.
Okay, so listen, we've been linked with someone in the newspaper, Stevie, a brother of one of our players as well.
Who reads newspapers? Shut up, Dan. You mean on X? Who reads newspapers?
On the interwebs, I've been having a scroll and I've seen that we've been linked with Pierce Charles's brother, Shay. Stevie, used to play for Man City. Southampton want to get him some grown-up football. Good signing.
It's one of those where if you look at it on paper, yeah, absolutely. A kid from the City sort of production line that they paid up anywhere between 12 and 15 million for him. At the start of last season, I think it was, wasn't it? And he's played over 30 games for him in the Championship at this level last year. The noises coming out of the Southampton socials, the people on those social media platforms, are that he's got the legs, he's got the ability to play in that defensive midfield role and could actually fill in at centre half as well. And I believe he can play fullback. The bits you hear and see him read are all positive. Bottom line is if we were told that we're going to have a 12-15 million pound player coming in and he's going to play for the season for us, that's absolutely it, isn't it? That's what we want. That's the dream. But it goes to your point that a player is only worth what somebody is willing to pay for him. And that's the counterpoint, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But like, John, have you ever bought like a second-hand car, right? And you go and you're looking around it, you think, what are you selling it for? If it's that good, why are you getting rid of it? You know what I mean? Is there an element of that, or is it just because he was good for when they were in the Championship last year, and they've probably moved on and signed replacements for him? What do you reckon? They've got a new car. They've just bought a Jag.
There's always that worry there, isn't there? Because we've been burnt on deals before in the past, haven't we? Whether it's been your Abdis or or other loan players like was that guy Alessio Dela Cruz, whatever it was that we had on loan. He was quite anonymous, weren't he? So there's always an element of risk with any signing, whether it's loan or permanent. Obviously, coming from City's academy, you would expect he's good. He's got something about him, and Southampton certainly thought so. And Southampton themselves are no mugs when it comes to spotting good talent and bringing good young players through. So that bodes well. So obviously we've got his brother Pierce here who will know all about him as well. And I think I'm glad it's a midfielder, and particularly if he is like a defensive midfielder as attacking him. I think I'm all for that, because like I said earlier, I think we need an extra body in that centre of the park for games like we had on Friday.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a comment there. He could take a corner, John. I'll have him back tomorrow. Go on.
I was looking at Stevie's eyes welling up, with the tears were going when he was saying he could play midfield, he could play centre back, he can even play right back or full back. And Stevie's going.
Do you know what? Against Leeds, I felt for Liam Palmer, because for me,
why didn't touch the ball once?
There was an element of.
Oh my God! Here we go.
What? We were talking about everyone. We slagged everyone else off.
It weren't. This is not. I need to be sure. This is not a dig at Liam Palmer, but somebody who plays in the position in the defensive roles that Liam Palmer plays. We're 2-0 down.
Yeah.
What the fuck is he going to do? What? You know what I mean? We brought on Liam Palmer and Marvin Johnson. Get smudge on and hoof the bloody thing. What's the matter with you? Like that, for me, it just seemed that easy. But Ash, what else are we saying?
Jay Blogs, sounds like if Danny brings any loans in, they aren't here to warm the bench. Yeah, I saw his comment about that. That's pretty.
Yeah, there's
pretty good. William Henderson says on about Charles, he's a ball carrier with legs, which is exactly what we need. That's it.
Legs is always helpful.
Legs is helpful.
I haven't seen anything of him. I won't profess to know anything about the guy. So we've said it in summer. I'm gonna trust Danny. If he's seen something, then that's what I've got to go with, because, I don't know. I know he's Pierce's brother, and he plays for Southampton. That's all I know about him.
Do you know what? I just remembered. I lived in Southampton for 18 years. I should just text a pal and go, listen, tell me about this geezer. I could have done that an hour ago.
I think the sibling link is just a coincidence, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's not Pierce in Danny's ear going, my brother's message, mate.
My kid will do it. Yeah,
he said he'll do a job for us, sort of thing. But it's to go back to the point in terms of why let him go. If you think about it not being a linear process, if they give him to us for a season and he does a job again, his stock's going to raise. He's going to be a year older, a year stronger, a year more experienced, and I think that bodes well for Southampton as an asset to them. Beneficial. And the other thing I'd say is, if you look at, we had, and I'm not for 1 second comparing it, and I know I'll get pelters for saying this, but we let a certain player go at the start of last season in Deli Bashiru, who's now playing Serie A football. He's playing international football.
I would have loved to see Deli Bashiru under Danny Rule.
Under Danny Rule, I think he'd have been the one. I genuinely do. I think he'd have done what we're getting Shea Charles in to do.
Yeah, there was definitely a player in Fizeo Deli Bashiru, but the issue is he had a bit of an attitude, and we had Darren Moore didn't manage to curb it somehow. He just didn't really get that.
It's been proven right though, Dan, hasn't it? If he's playing Serie A international football, whatever he was saying behind the scenes to say, I need more game time, I want to be playing more.
He was actually right.
He was actually well at the time he might not have been, because we got promoted. But the end goal was right, but what he was saying, and I'm sure as footballers, you've got to back yourself, haven't you? And that's probably where a lot of the attitude and all that comes from.
Well, let's be honest here, Ash, as well, right? We had that midfield triangle, Volkswagen and Byers. Byers got injured. All of a sudden, we stopped that mega run that we were on, and then we gave a number of players an opportunity to fill up that space. We had a Deneran come in, we had Deli Bashiru come in, and somebody else whose name escapes me. And Backinson came in, and they all three of them shit the bed. all three of them. So there's a point where he had his chance, and that was his chance. But then, we've got the playoff final, and he's the one that was part of the build-up. There's absolutely a player in there. I just wish that we'd have given him a bigger chance, as it were. But this is not the Fazeo Deli Bashiro show. John, we've been speaking about some outgoings. There's been some heavy news about Bailey Cadamarteri on his way to Lincoln to get some game time with them. Good move?
Yeah, he needs to get some game time, regular game time at a decent level. I think Lincoln's a good club as well for him to go to. I think they've got a decent setup down there. And he needs to go and, I know this, he's played a bit for us, but, the lower down you go, you'll know from whatever level anyone's ever played at. The lower down you go, the more physical it tends to be, and, be a bit coming of age for him, potentially. Get some game time, get some goal, get some confidence, and come back a better player. I think it's a good move. I think it's the right move for him to go out. Yeah,
given the way that Smudge has given us another option, and all of a sudden, I think he's kind of put himself up the pecking order a little bit. What would you agree, Ash? Mutually beneficial? Just a season, maybe 6 months.
I think what Stevie just said about Shea Charles could be the same for Cadamarteri. You got a team. Let him out on loan. If he plays well, it's going to be beneficial for us. Not in a selling thing because he signed a long-term contract and thing, but for his own personal growth, development, the confidence he'll go if he goes to Lincoln and scores. I'd just say every other game, or do you know what I mean? Something. But I just wonder that do Lincoln or whoever he goes to, I know it's Lincoln, are they going to play the way that or close to the way that Sheffield Wednesday want to play? So is he going to be getting used to a system? Because obviously it's quite a complicated system that I think Danny wants to play. And will that suit the way Cadamarteri wants to play and therefore Lincoln play? I don't know. Or is he just going out just to get minutes in legs, just to bang the ball in the back of the net? And that's it. Am I looking too much into it? Because I don't usually.
I love the way you just went, I don't usually. What else? What other comments we got about this sort of thing?
Liam Henderson, Bailey going to Lincoln is excellent for everyone. They like to play decent football and will give him the experience.
I think it's
a recut. Sorry, Stevie.
No, I was just going to say, it's interesting that we've brought McNeil in and are now saying Cadamarteri can go because they're similar in terms of profile. I would argue. Obviously, Cadamarteri's a Wednesday sort of product, whereas McNeil's gone through the City and Man United systems. There's been fees paid for him. He has been on loan in lower leagues, and it didn't work out for him necessarily. But rules clearly seen something to say, right, I'm going to sign him, keep him, and let Cadamarteri go out on loan. What does that mean? Does it mean anything? I've just seen a comment that's just been put up now. Ben saying that McNeil wasn't even on the bench against Leeds. No, he wasn't. You know that you're absolutely right. Neither was Cadamarteri, but I don't think anyway. But you'd assume that if Cads is going to go out on loan, then McNeil's going to have a little bit more involvement with the squad. And does that mean that Danny Rule thinks he's going to be an adequate replacement, or is there some deeper meaning going on there as well?
Maybe. Just checking. Can you hear me all right? I think I just had a brief internet issue there, but I feel like I'm back in charge. I'm back on it. Now, John, if you had the opportunity to strengthen some certain positions, I assume midfield would be high up on it. I mean, let's go round the room. Top two. Let's pick top two play positions that you think we could do with some help in that place.
Ooh, that's a good one. Definitely, I would stick with the midfielder, like I've been saying earlier on, and I'd have to go for another striker as well. Obviously, if you're moving
another striker,
yeah, I'd like another one. Somebody just, I don't know. I mean, look at the strikers; they've all got different qualities, but I'd love to get that one in. I'm not going to get a Dan James pace player, but somebody who does frighten defenders because they are quick and direct and running. I know Masaba's and Gassama try that, and I'd never want to coach that out of them. But I mean, striker-wise, I'd love to get somebody, who's going to get
there was
a
a point on Friday night, John, where Masaba got played through a beauty of a ball, and the run he did to get to that ball was absolutely incredible. And then as soon as he touched it, it looked like he was running in treacle. And like again, it's just like these basic things, like get it out from under your feet, hit the byline, and get it in the bloody mixer. I can't speak.
Now, I mean, like I say, you don't want to coach it out of them, but they've also got to know in that famous song, you've got to know when to hold it and know when to fold it, and and they just got to get a little bit better in the decision making, as the whole team has really, because we do still struggle in the final third at times. But they've got that pace to break and scare players, but then they've just got to get their head up and they've just got to make the right pass or get it to the byline and cut it back. And they can start doing that.
And get it in the mixer. Get it in the mixer. That's all I want. It's all I want. Steve,
get it forward. Get it forward.
Listen, if we're 2-0 down, I don't understand what the point of bringing me and Palmer on is. I won't understand it, right? If there's 10 minutes to go, hoof it, and that big 6'4" telegraph pole we've got stood on the penalty spot, get it on his napper. What's the matter with you? You know what I mean? I like playing it out from the back. Exactly that. I like playing out from the back. I like what it does. It draws them in. Or do we have the players for that right now? Not yet, but we will, right? But the last 10 minutes,
we think, didn't we? Arsene, when Arsene Wenger and Arsenal were like winning everything, they were the team, weren't they? Sam Allardyce and Bolton used to give them nightmares, didn't they? Because they would just be physical with them, and they'd just put balls into the box, into big, big brick shit houses, wouldn't they? And it'd be ugly, and they'd win games 1-0, and Arsene Wenger would complain. It's like they've done nothing wrong. They just bullied you because they know you're a lot better than them. So
they had Eero.
Sometimes you got to win ugly, haven't you?
Exactly that, and Kevin Davies just kicking the bell out of everybody. Stevie, what positions would you strengthen?
Holding midfield, the classic CDM 6, whatever you want to call it, in 2024. I think one of the issues that we've got is that we don't have that steel, and we thought that Ingleson might be that player, and I don't think it's quite clicked after week 1. It's not quite clicking there at the moment, and I don't know if that's just a temporary thing or it's because he's flat to deceive in the game against Plymouth. Bannon's not going to do that, and I think one of the issues, having thought about it and reflected a little bit, is that you don't have that insurance, do you? When Bannon's going to be that player that wants to go and play, and it was Ingleson more than Bannon that is the legs that will go forwards. My worry around it is I just don't believe that he's going to play 3 in the middle. I don't think he's going to set up and say, right, we're going to set up with 3 midfielders. So I'd wonder if either Ingleson or Bannon might end up missing a fair bit of game time. I don't think that will happen, but I would like to see something different in that sort of that position behind the front 4, if you like. The other one is a little bit more difficult. I'm not really sure. I'd perhaps like to see Windass in form before I made a judgment on the person playing in 10, because like you said earlier on, I still think there's a player in there. My worry is we've paid a significant fee in terms of Sheffield Wednesday transfer fees for Ugbo. He's not coming to sit on the bench. Ugbo will be playing sooner rather than later, as soon as he's up to speed. So I think we look a little bit light, and I'll say it, I think we look a little bit light at fullback. Valerie played well. He was good. I like the little bits that I saw against Lowe, against Plymouth, but you look at that second goal the other night, if we're talking about being up there, and it's no slight on Lowe, he didn't do anything wrong. He just wasn't enough.
I think there's also a romance with Paul Valentin as well, because he was absolutely bloody atrocious when he started, and he turned into a relatively decent player by the end of the season, and we stayed up. I think we're giving him a bit of a calmed life a little bit. I think we're kind of going, I know Paul's really good, Paul's all right, and But but playing him out on the right was absolute insanity to me. I like him as that.
Didn't work. It didn't work.
No, it just didn't work, did it? Ash, give me some comments and give me the two positions because I've just seen the time.
I'm going for number 6, same as Stevie. I'm going for a centre midfielder.
I think we're all in that agreement, aren't we?
And it doesn't happen that often, but I agree with Stevie again. I think another fullback. I know it would either be another fullback or all right, sorry, another fullback or another centre midfielder, a creative centre midfielder.
Mm-hmm.
Right, very quickly. You've just said I agree with you. I only picked fullback because I didn't want midfielder twice.
Double up.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Are you reading my notes here?
What two positions? Midfield and midfield.
Yeah.
No. I've gone for like a CDM, and then I'm going for AMC, like a playmaker. Because I think
Cam
with legs, yes, Cam, yeah.
We don't say Cam, Stevie, because we play champ manager. It's attacking midfielder centre. We don't say centre attacking midfielder. You know what I mean?
In 2024, when you've been running football teams at schools, all they want to do is play Cam. CDM is quite new, but for 5 years, it was Cam. I want to be a Cam.
They don't know. They weren't there, man. They weren't in the trenches. They weren't in the trenches trying to sign Ibrahim Bakayoko from Montpellier. So
Freddie Adu.
Yeah. Freddie Adu signed him on a contract, couldn't play for a year. So listen, let's move on. Ashley, before I'm going to talk about Grimsby and Millwall after we've done any other business. So let's get into it. Do we have any other business?
Yeah, I've got one first. You might have seen on our socials that we did a last man standing. So last man standing part 2 has been won eventually after 16 weeks. So so that's great. I don't know, over 400 quid went to the winner. So that's
that was Georgie, wasn't it? Who we found out that he'd been in our last man standing part 2 since March, and then George didn't follow us on any of the social media. So thanks, Georgie.
It just means our reach is getting out there. Yeah, he follows us now. Yeah, of course he does. But
it's cost us 434 quid.
Yeah, we had to pay him.
So
to get a second job.
Fantastic. So there will be a last man standing part 2. Will be coming soon in a couple of weeks, I believe. So yeah, watch out on our socials for that.
Oh, we've got a graphic ready there. There's a graphic there. Begins on the 12th of September, and Steve has done some graphics, so that's nice, isn't it? 12th of September, £10 in, and follow our socials, and we'll get all that out. Stevie, have you got anything to add?
No, just EFL's doing well. EFL's going well.
Oh, yeah. I noticed that Stevie's prepared the graphics for this evening, and there's one that's been put in the pocket here of Stevie's team at the top of the EFL Fantasy League. Like that's that's useful for everybody. And Stevie's team is 6 point clear on the EFL League. I think I'm about 60 points behind you.
I lasted 1 week like I do with fantasy football. I picked the first team, and then I just haven't bothered. I was second bottom, I think I was.
Yeah, Ash, I've just had a notification there saying there's an issue on Twitter. I don't know what it is. I'll let you pick that up while John tells us is any other business.
Yeah, it's just a quick one. Very sadly, we lost Sven-Goran Eriksson today. As many will know, has been battling cancer recently, and sadly he's passed away today. And we all had his memories from his time with England. I think he was our first foreign coach for England, I believe, and obviously, whether your memories are whether he could handle Gerrard and Lampard as a midfielder, or whether your memories of that fantastic 5-1 win in Germany, which were amazing, weren't it? I think he left his presence on us, and we all grew up, and he was, a manager that we'll remember from our time when we had the supposed golden generation as well, even though we've now got another one. But yeah, just thought I'd pay my respects.
Absolutely, totally worth mentioning it. And Sven-Goran Eriksson, for me, like I said, there's that 5-1 win, and then we always kind of write him off as some kind of nerd, some kind of geek, some kind of just bloke who was like sat there looking at spreadsheets all day. And then you saw Ulrika Johnson and Nancy Del Olio, and you went, actually, Sven Goran Eriksson's an absolute lad, and I will be told nothing else. But no, fair play, and I'm glad you've mentioned it. And Christ, he absolutely he stuck it out towards the end, didn't he? As well, he knew what was happening, and he did it with some absolute dignity. Now, Ashley, let's move on to Grimsby. I'll put a pin in Millwall because we're already at an hour already. So, actually, Asha, you've got that confused face because you're pressing buttons. Stevie, I'll come to you first. Millwall, we're going to progress in the cup, aren't we? It's going to be about 4-0, isn't it?
Not against Millwall. We're playing Grimsby.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. You'd like to think so. I would assume it's going to be another one of those where there'll be wholesale changes. I've seen a couple of bits arguing whether or not Ugbo should start. I'd start Ugbo, give him an hour, and get him some minutes in his legs.
Yeah, there's an opportunity there, and wherever Chalobah is in his recovery, that didn't miss a game all season last year. He's
been on the pitch, hasn't he? And then it's another opportunity for your McNeils, your Kabatski.
Yep.
Kabatski. I'm not necessarily overly fussed around seeing too many changes in terms of, right, we're going to get people like, and I say this with the greatest respect, let's get Ihekwe minutes, because I think Ihekwe is not going to be playing on Saturday. I think given that we've shipped a lot of goals, and this won't happen, I know that they'll change it personally, my personal opinion, get those players that haven't been at it, get them in and get them some more minutes, and just get them the minutes in the legs and then drag them.
Minutes in the legs. If anybody's seen Brian's gun on Twitter, that's one of my favourite ones. Have you got anything to add on that, John? That's pretty much the sentiment across the board, isn't it? Get some minutes in the legs.
I think that's probably what will happen. Personally, I would like to see him put quite a strong side out and then just try and get back to winning ways. I mean, not that we can't win with a squad full of changes, but I'd like to stick like maybe 80% of what played last game, and then just go out there and just try and put a good solid performance in and get a comfortable win hopefully and set us up for Millwall.
Absolutely. Ash, how are you getting on?
I think you've the title of this podcast is X. It's Farked. So I don't know what's weird. It might not be our fault. It might be Twitter. It says, but still registering that people are watching. So all three of them. Right. So yeah, that's cool.
Fair enough. Let's have some. Go on.
I thought you were going to ask me about Grimsby.
I was going to say let's have some Grimsby chat.
Yeah, I'm going to go 5 or 6 changes, get a core 5 or 6 players playing, get the win, bit of confidence, a couple of goals hopefully by people up top. So I'm looking forward to it going. So it's going to be good. Not been to Grimsby before.
Is it still Blundell Park?
Yeah. The worry is, and just very quickly, if we don't win tomorrow, then I think one thing that we haven't really talked about this week has been the negativity towards, and I found it surprising, the negativity from some people towards Danny Rule.
I think he got it wrong against Leeds. I think he got a few things wrong.
I'm not disputing whether he is or he isn't, but the vitriol that people are very quick to jump on.
That's because people are fucking idiots, Stevie.
Well, you said it, not me. But I think at the end,
these rule out guys, like, look, he's still learning, right? This is his first management job, and there was a few times last season where we got our asses handed to us. Ipswich being a notable exception, right? I feel that there was a couple. The fact that Masaba played 90 minutes was incorrect. I felt like he waited too long to make a change when he did. We were already getting our ass handed to us. But for these people to go, Danny should piss off and he's rubbish, and grow up. Yeah.
And the thing to remember is that I think a lot of that sort of ill feeling is we're looking at people coming in like the I don't know his surname, is Reggie, whatever his name is at Sunderland, Lebrie. He's coming in. We've got people doing it like Martin at Southampton. We've got Daniel Farked still doing it at Leeds. We've got the McKenna at Ipswich. So all these coaches are coming in and they're working their magic with a certain style of football. Danny's trying to play it, but Danny's trying to play it on a budget of 3 million. Where we're comparing them to, I'd love to have the resources that Leeds have. I'd love to have the resources that Southampton have. And I know it's an age-old cliche sort of discussion around parachute payments, profit and sustainability, etc., etc., etc. Even Ipswich took shitloads to get out of League One. They paid £1 million for a left back.
Let's be honest. Ipswich are playing Premier League football because they're minted and they've spent it. You know what I mean? That's what they've done, and they've managed to escape. They've managed to escape EFL profitability and sustainability rules because they got promoted. If they didn't get promoted, they'd have come under the EFL banner of spending too much. But because it did go up, they're now exempt from those rules. It's broke and it's a wrong system. It's F in the A.
And just on that, sorry, to bring it full circle.
Well, we must be short of time. Stevie's got something else to add.
Shut up. Dan's on his Monday night promise, isn't he? That's what it is.
9 o'clock.
I was just going to finish off by saying we could do with a decent performance and a win to get that sort of good feeling back in the club, because it's been there all summer. The kit releases, the Liam Palmer stuff, the things that have been happening in terms of retaining players we thought we were going to lose have been brilliant. Let's get back to that now.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's get. No, I agree with you. Let's get that positivity back through the club.
Yeah,
because I think it was great. I enjoyed being part of Sheffield Wednesday. That the build up to it and the week after Plymouth, I was like, this is mint. This is great. Last 2 weeks has been very difficult. I've not enjoyed it. And Matt Strickland there has said well said, Stevie. So you're getting decent feedback from the interwebs, and I'm glad you added up. You're right, Ash. Let's have some final comments before I wrap this up, shall we?
We've got score prediction for Millwall, so we've got to talk about Millwall in a minute, no doubt. So,
no.
Why?
Because we play Millwall, I think it's a shit, and we put the score predictions up on the internet anyway. And there's no point talking about a game that's a week away.
Love Island USA. Is it Love Island USA? Is that what it is, Daniel?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? What is happening?
Why do you have to go at 9 o'clock? Why do you have to go at 9 o'clock every week?
Because
I know what I know.
Do you want me to tell you what it is? Right. So our web hosting platform, it goes over a certain amount of kilobytes when it comes to it's genuinely a really boring answer. And when it comes to uploading it, it doesn't like it when it's longer than an hour. And that's why, because of the amount of kilobytes. Sometimes I'll get away with 5 minutes at the end. But when we've done an episode that's like 1 hour 17, it has a meltdown. I have to keep trying to re-upload it. And I have to delete old episodes to get them in.
Right. So just on that point, if you'd have not spent 90 seconds talking about that, we could have previewed Millwall.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, playing Grimsby first, Millwall will just put the predictions up. I don't know why we're doing a preview anymore. We started putting the predictions up online. Has nobody ever done that correlation? You know what I mean? We're sat here going, I think it's going to be 2-0. Yeah, I think it's going to be great. And then we've done a snazzy graphic that goes out in the morning of the game. What's the point?
All right, then I could stop with the snazzy graphic.
I like the snazzy graphic.
The snazzy graphic I enjoy.
I'm running a league. We've got
we'll have to throw John under the bus. Yeah.
Welcome to our annual AGM, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, what do you think of our Twitter? What do you think of our Twitter outage? Sorry about that.
Let's get some comments up, man.
Are we staying now, are we?
Yeah.
You know.
There's loads, but I don't want to drag it out because Dan, you're going to be sat at your computer editing all this and stuff.
Yeah, that's it. I've just realised that's an extra hour now. I'm going to be sat there trying to upload it.
And you've got to find the place where you put the advert in as well.
Mint.
33 minutes 42 seconds, Dan.
I did write that down.
So I'll let you wrap it up. I'll let you wrap it up, Dan. Come on, wrap it up, mate.
Right, okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks a lot for joining us this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure. Now, just before I go, I couldn't let anybody go without also reminding people that this picture exists in the world. Bambo Diaby has gone to FC Elche and they announced him riding a horse. Does anybody know why?
It is genius. You know, we've gone on about clubs announcing. You know, we've gone on about clubs announcing signings. And we've gone, oh, that's great. That's great. Oh, that's beautiful how they've done that. They've done that. No, I've not got a clue. It's genius, but I
get him horse. He just walks in a horse.
Did someone put hashtag desert horse shit or something like that?
No idea. Just it came out on horse.
It was brilliant. I thought it was great. Good luck to the guy. I know, obviously, it doesn't fit into the style of play we need to play.
I'll never forget Ramadan. Ramadan Bambo Diaby was my absolute favourite human being. And then when he botched his nose up as well, hero. My type of player. I just wish he was a bit better at the footballing side of things. Also, the other week, I was getting pelters on the internet for slagging off the low-budget Pudsey Bear version of the Sheffield Children's Hospital mascot. We're up all night for good fun. We're up all night to get some. We're up all night for Snide Pudsey. There he is there. A visual gag for you there, boys and girls, so you can have a look at that. But listen, I did really want to get into that. I was well happy with that.
Can that be the thumbnail that goes on all the socials for this show?
What? Pudsey.
It will be now. It will be now.
Snide Pudsey. Yeah, let's do it. Listen, thanks a lot for joining us. See you later.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday week. Bringing you football analysis.
He came in. I think he scored a goal.
Bringing you banter.
Yeah.
Bringing you responsible life hacks.
Met you wonderful souls at 10 a.m. for some shots.
The Wednesday week. 1, 2, 3, 4 live. Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there, podcasts, etc.
The Wednesday week 24-25 season. Join us.
Put on your podcast.